The Force is light and full of shadows. Before we dive in, check the link in the description if you want exclusive Timelines members-only videos you won't find on YouTube, all on our Patreon. The Clone Wars have not yet begun. The Republic stands whole. The Jedi Order, 10,000 strong, believes itself eternal. They are wrong. 12 Jedi Masters sit in a circle. The High Council, the wisest beings in the galaxy. In the center of the chamber, a 9-year-old boy, Anakin Skywalker, blonde hair, blue eyes, small for his age, wearing the simple clothes of a Tatooine slave. He sits cross-legged, perfectly still, waiting. Qui-Gon Jinn stands nearby, tall, weathered, hopeful. He believes this child is the chosen one, the prophecy made flesh. Mace Windu holds a handheld screen device, the Force sensitivity test. Images flash across the screen, images Anakin cannot see. A ship, Anakin says. Mace nods. Correct, a Bantha. Correct again. The Council watches. They sense the boy's power. His midi-chlorian count is off the charts. Higher than Master Yoda's, higher than anyone's. But power is not wisdom, and power without control is catastrophe. Master Yoda sits in his hover chair, 870 years old. The Grand Master, the most powerful Jedi alive. His eyes narrow. He feels something wrong, a shadow where there should be light. Mace Windu asks his final question. Young Skywalker, what do you see in your future? Anakin opens his mouth to answer, and the galaxy breaks. The transfer. For Anakin Skywalker, time stops. He sees the Jedi Temple burning, smoke rising from the 5 spires, clone troopers marching through the halls, Jedi falling, children screaming. Padme, on a medical table, lifeless, her hand falling limp. A desert planet, twin suns, a man in black robes, his son, Luke, removing the mask, the throne room, Emperor Palpatine's lightning, Luke writhing, dying. The choice, grabbing Palpatine, lifting him, throwing him into the reactor shaft, the mask coming off. Scarred face, burned, but human, redeemed. Luke's face, tears. Father, you were right about me. Tell your sister. You were right. And then, consciousness. Darth Vader's soul, pulled from the moment of death, ripped from the Force itself, crashes into the 9-year-old body like a meteor striking an ocean. The collision is soundless, but absolute. The shift. The council chamber's temperature drops 10 degrees in 3 seconds. Frost forms on the transparisteel windows, ice crystals spreading like spiderwebs. Every Jedi in the room flinches. Some gasp. Others reach instinctively for their lightsabers. Master Yoda's eyes widen. Genuine shock. Something that has not happened in centuries. The boy's Force presence has transformed. Where there was a bright, innocent sun, a child's pure light, there is now a black hole. Not evil, not dark, but ancient, heavy, terrifying. It pulls at the Force like a wound in reality, a gravity well of trauma and knowledge and death. Young Anakin's blue eyes are open, but the mind behind them is not a child's. Darth Vader, now trapped in this tiny, fragile body, calculates instantly. I am alive. Impossible. I am young. 9 years old. Tatooine. The Council. Before it all went wrong, Qui-Gon is alive. Standing right there. The test. They're testing me. Palpatine. Sheev Palpatine is out there. Supreme Chancellor, beginning his plan. A cold, ruthless clarity floods through him. I know everything. Every move. Every manipulation. Every death. I can stop it all. But first, survive this room. Vader forces the child's face to remain calm. Neutral. He breathes slowly, evenly. Mace Windu stands, his hand near his lightsaber. What was that? A disturbance, another council member says, voice shaking. In the Force. I've never felt dangerous, Mace interrupts, staring at Anakin. This boy is dangerous. I sense death, oceans of it. Qui-Gon steps forward, desperate. Master Windu, you cannot. We can and we must, Mace says firmly. The Council has reached its decision. This boy will not be trained. The other council members nod. Fear is clear on their faces. Qui-Gon's voice rises. He is the chosen one. You cannot deny. Enough, Qui-Gon, Mace says. The decision is final. Vader inside Anakin's body does not panic. He knows this moment. In the original timeline, Qui-Gon defied the Council. After Qui-Gon's death on Naboo, Obi-Wan took Anakin as his Padawan to honor his master's dying wish. But Qui-Gon is about to die. Without that defiance, Vader will be cast out, rejected, lost. Unless... No. The word is quiet, spoken in a small, ancient voice. Every head turns. Master Yoda rises from his hover chair. He walks, slowly, his gimmer stick tapping against the stone floor, toward the center of the chamber. He stops in front of Anakin. For a long moment, the Grand Master and the boy stare at each other. Yoda sees a soul crushed under the weight of decades. Trauma, rage, loss, regret so deep it feels like drowning. But also, purpose. This is not a Sith. This is something far more complex. Vader sees the only Jedi who could possibly understand, the only one powerful enough to be a threat, or an ally, the only one who might, eventually, listen. Dangerous this boy is, Yoda says quietly. Agree, I do. The council members look at each other, confused. But abandoned he cannot be, Yoda continues. Mace Windu protests. Master Yoda, if he falls to the dark side, falls he will if cast out. Yoda interrupts. His voice is sharp, final. Know this, I do. Feel it in the Force. Alone, this child becomes something terrible. The chamber is silent. Yoda plants his stick firmly on the ground. His decision is made. My Padawan he will be. Gasps. Shock. Even Mace Windu looks stunned. Master Yoda, another council member says carefully, you have not taken a Padawan in over a century. Then overdue I am, Yoda says. Watch him I will. Contain him I will. Guide him I will. His eyes lock on to Anakin's. Hard. Unyielding. And if darkness takes him, Yoda's voice drops. Stop him. I will. The threat is clear. Absolute. Vader, inside Anakin, makes his calculation. Yoda, as Grandmaster, will have unrestricted access to the Jedi archives. The Senate, the Chancellor's inner circle. Yoda's proximity is the perfect cover to hunt Palpatine. Yoda is also the only Jedi capable of killing him if he makes a mistake. It is a deadly game. But Vader has played worse. Anakin looks up at Yoda. His voice is soft, polite, utterly devoid of childish inflection. I accept, Master Yoda. Qui-Gon Jinn, relieved but confused, bows gratefully. Thank you, Master Yoda. Yoda does not acknowledge him. His eyes remain fixed on the boy. This child just called me master like a soldier addressing a general. The game has begun. Jedi Temple. Sublevels. Days after the council decision. Most Padawans begin their training with lightsaber forms. Younglings gather in the training halls, learning Shicho under the guidance of instructors. Yoda does not take Anakin to the training halls. Instead, he leads the boy deep into the temple, past the archives, past the meditation chambers, down into the forgotten sublevels, where ancient Jedi once practiced the purest forms of Force communion. Anakin follows silently. No questions, no complaints. Just cold observation. His small legs struggle to keep pace with Yoda's slow, deliberate steps. But he does not ask to slow down. Vader recognizes this tactic immediately. Yoda is testing his spirit, not his body. They descend for nearly an hour. The air grows colder, damper. The stone walls are slick with moisture. Finally, they reach their destination, the room of 1,000 fountains, deepest level, a vast dark chamber. Water drips from ancient stone formations. Mineral deposits form strange, twisted shapes. The sound of water echoes endlessly. But the Force here is different. Heavy. Centuries of Jedi meditation have saturated this place with light-side energy. It presses against the mind like a physical weight. For a normal Padawan, this place is peaceful, calming. For Vader, carrying decades of dark-side corruption, the weight of countless murders, the stain of Mustafar, it is agony. His breath catches. The child's body wants to recoil, to flee. But Vader forces himself to remain still. Yoda watches him carefully. Sit, you will. Anakin sits. Cross-legged, hands on his knees. His posture is perfect. Too perfect for a 9-year-old. Yoda sits across from him on a moss-covered stone. His gimmer stick rests beside him. For a long moment, they simply breathe. Then Yoda speaks. Meditate we will. Open your mind to the Force. Show me what you carry. Anakin closes his eyes, and Yoda pushes. The battle of wills. The Grand Master's presence in the Force is like a tidal wave. Not an attack, not violence, just existence. The weight of 870 years of mastery pressing against Anakin's mind. See into you, I must, Yoda says softly. Hide you cannot. But Vader's mental shields, forged in the fires of Sith training, hardened by decades of serving a master who punished weakness with death, are impenetrable. Layer upon layer, durasteel walls reinforced with cortosis, sealed with techniques Vader learned from Palpatine himself. Every memory of Mustafar, every vision of Padme's death, every detail of the Empire, the Death Star, Order 66, all of it locked away behind barriers that even a Grandmaster cannot breach. Yoda pushes harder. Anakin's breathing remains steady. Inside his mind, Vader is actively reinforcing the walls, pouring power into the shields, sealing cracks before they form. What Yoda does sense, what leaks through despite Vader's control, is trauma, an ocean of it. Grief so deep it feels ancient, pain that tastes like burning flesh and molten rock, regret that weighs more than planets. But the specifics, the details, sealed away. After an hour, Yoda withdraws. He opens his eyes, breathing heavily. Sweat beads on his green forehead. His hands tremble slightly. Strong you are, Yoda says quietly. Stronger than you should be. Anakin opens his eyes. They are calm, blue, cold. I survived worse than this, Master. Yoda's ears twitch. Survived? What has this child survived? Afraid of me you are not, Yoda observes. Should I be? Anakin asks evenly. Yes, Yoda says bluntly. Most Padawans terrified they would be to train under the Grand Master. Overwhelmed, shaking. But you calm. You are. Too calm. I know you could kill me, Master Yoda. You're the most powerful Jedi alive. But I also know you won't. Not unless I give you a reason. Like a general, not a child. What are you, young Skywalker? Yoda asks quietly. Vader, inside Anakin, considers his answer carefully. He cannot reveal the truth. Not yet. The shock would destroy whatever fragile trust exists between them. But he can offer a piece of it. I'm someone who's seen what happens when the Jedi fail, Master, Anakin says softly. And I won't let it happen again. Yoda stares at him for a long moment. The dripping water echoes. The Force swirls heavy and oppressive around them. Then show me, Yoda finally says, standing. Prove you are not lost. The Cave of Truth. Yoda leads Anakin deeper into the sublevels, to a place few Padawans ever see, a place most Jedi fear. The Cave of Truth, a dark side vergence sealed within the temple itself. A wound in the Force contained for training purposes. The entrance is a simple stone archway, but the darkness beyond is palpable, suffocating. Face your darkness you will, Yoda says. If consumed you are, stop you, I will. Anakin looks into the darkness. He feels the pull, the familiar cold embrace of the dark side. He has walked in this darkness for 23 years. He steps into the cave without hesitation. Inside, the Force shows him visions. Padme. She lies on a medical table, swollen with pregnancy, dying. Anakin, help me. Her hand reaches out. He cannot reach her. She dies. The Jedi Temple, burning. Clone troopers march through the halls. Blue blaster bolts cutting down Jedi. Anakin, no, Vader leads them. His lightsaber blue, not red, not yet. He cuts down a Jedi Knight. Then another. And another. Younglings huddle in the council chamber. Terrified. Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? Vader ignites his lightsaber. Mustafar. Lava, heat. Obi-Wan standing over him. You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you. The flames consume him. His flesh burns. He screams. The mask descends. The breathing begins. No! The throne room. Emperor Palpatine, cackling, unleashing lightning. Luke, his son, his beautiful son, writhing on the floor. Father, please. Vader stands frozen, ain't able to move, ain't able to choose. Then, the moment. The choice. Grabbing Palpatine, throwing him. The lightning stops. Luke lives. The mask comes off. You were right about me. Death. Most Padawans would scream, would collapse, would break under the weight of such horrors. Vader stands in the center of the visions, eyes open, watching them like a man reviewing old Holovids. He knows every frame, every detail, every moment of agony. I know, he says to the darkness. I lived it. I died from it. And I'm here to make sure it never happens. The visions fade. The cave is silent. Anakin walks out, his expression composed. His Force presence is lighter than before, not because the darkness is gone, but because he has accepted it. Yoda waits outside, his hand on his lightsaber, ready to strike if the boy emerges corrupted. But what he senses is not corruption. He senses clarity. Past you have, Yoda says slowly. But understand you, I do not. Anakin looks at him. You will, Master, when the time is right. Yoda watches the boy walk away. His ancient mind races. This Padawan is no student. He is something else entirely. 3 years later, 35 BBY, Anakin is now 12 years old. He has grown, though not much, still small for his age. Lean, wiry. But his reputation has grown immensely. As Master Yoda's personal Padawan, Anakin has privileges no other student possesses. Unrestricted access to the Jedi archives, including the restricted sections. Freedom to move through the Senate building without escort. Direct observation of High Council meetings. Minimal supervision. Yoda trusts the Force to guide him. To the other Jedi, Anakin is polite, quiet, unsettlingly competent. He does not socialize with other Padawans, does not play, does not joke. He trains, studies, meditates, with the focus of a monk 3 times his age. Obi-Wan Kenobi, now a full Jedi Knight at 28 years old, occasionally sees Anakin in the temple halls. He feels a pang of guilt every time. This was supposed to be his Padawan, Qui-Gon's dying wish. But Yoda intervened, and Obi-Wan, still grieving his master's death, did not fight it. When they pass each other, Anakin always nods respectfully. Master Kenobi. Obi-Wan nods back, unsettled by the boy's formality. Why does a 12-year-old sound like a soldier? Midnight. The archives. Late at night when the temple sleeps, Anakin moves. He has spent 3 years carefully mapping the Jedi archives. He knows where every terminal is located, which ones are monitored, which ones have access to the holonet. Vader's knowledge of the Sith network is encyclopedic. He knows Palpatine's underworld contacts, the crime lords, the smugglers, the assassins. He knows the names of Sith cultists who will, in another timeline, become inquisitors. He knows which corporations secretly fund the dark side. And over 3 years, he has been quietly compiling a list, a hit list. Tonight, he makes his move. Level 1313, Coruscant Underworld. Anakin, wearing a dark cloak, slips out of the temple using a service entrance. No alarms, no witnesses. He has studied the security patterns for 3 years. His target, Gorag the Hutt, a minor crime lord operating out of a dingy cantina on level 1313, unremarkable by Hutt standards. But Vader knows the truth. Gorag is one of Palpatine's money launderers. In another timeline, Gorag will funnel billions of credits into the separatist movement, funding the Clone Wars. He must die. Anakin finds the cantina easily. A cesspool of criminals, spice dealers, and mercenaries. Gorag sits in the back surrounded by bodyguards, 4 Gamorreans, 2 Weequay enforcers. Anakin does not use his lightsaber. Too traceable. Too obvious. Instead, he uses the Force. Not flashy, not dramatic. Just cold. Efficient. Telekinesis, he reaches out with the Force. Finds a structural support beam above Gorag's booth. The durasteel is old. Corroded. He applies pressure. Precise. Surgical. The beam groans. Then snaps. The ceiling collapses. Tons of metal and stone crash down onto Gorag and his guards. Screams. Dust. Chaos. By the time security droids arrive, Anakin is gone. The official report: tragic structural failure in the dangerous underworld. No survivors, no witnesses, just another accident. The pattern emerges. Over the next 2 years, a pattern emerges, but only the keenest observers notice. Crime lords connected to Sith artifacts mysteriously die in accidents. Dark side cultists vanish without a trace. Smugglers trafficking forbidden Sith holocrons are found dead in their ships. Cause of death: unknown. The Jedi Council discusses these incidents briefly. Mace Windu suspects a rogue vigilante. Someone is cleaning up the underworld, violently. Another council member: perhaps a rival crime syndicate? Yoda listens silently, his eyes distant. He knows. He doesn't know, he has no proof. But his connection to the Force whispers a terrible truth. My Padawan is hunting in the night. The confrontation. Subtle. One evening, Yoda and Anakin are meditating together in Yoda's personal chambers. This is their ritual. Every night, without fail. Quiet the underworld has become, Yoda says casually, eyes still closed. Fewer disturbances in the Force. Anakin's breathing does not change. Perhaps they're finally learning to fear the Jedi, Master. Yoda hums. Or fear something else. A long silence. The Force swirls around them. Heavy. Watchful. If a Jedi knew of great evil, Anakin says carefully, but could not prove it to the Council, would it be wrong to act alone? Yoda opens his eyes. He looks at his Padawan, this strange, terrifying boy who carries the weight of 1,000 lifetimes. Act alone. A Jedi should not, Yoda says slowly. But act we must, when darkness threatens. The question is, how? Anakin meets his gaze. Sometimes, Master, the only way to stop darkness is to walk into it. Yoda stares at him for a long moment. Careful, you must be, young one, Yoda finally says. Walk too deep into darkness, and return. You may not. I've already been there, Master, Anakin says softly. I know the way back. The chess game continues, and somewhere in the underworld, another name is crossed off Vader's list. Sereno, Outer Rim, 35 BBY, months after Gorag's death. Count Dooku stands on the balcony of his family estate, staring at the stars. 70 years old, elegant, aristocratic, one of the finest duelists the Jedi Order has ever produced, and deeply, profoundly disillusioned. Qui-Gon's death broke something inside him, not just the loss of his former Padawan, though that grief still cuts like a blade, but what Qui-Gon's death represented: the Jedi's subservience to a corrupt republic, their refusal to act against injustice, their endless meditation while the galaxy suffered. Dooku has left the Jedi Order, not in anger, not in rage, in clarity, but leaving has made him vulnerable. He feels it now. A dark presence reaching out to him through the Force. Someone is trying to contact him, someone powerful. Dooku knows who it is. He has suspected for years that the Sith have returned. The Trade Federation's invasion of Naboo was too coordinated, too deliberate, and now one of them is calling to him, offering him, what? Power? Purpose? Revenge? Dooku stands at a crossroads, and he does not yet know which path he will choose. Late night. The estate. Dooku senses an intruder. Not a soldier. Not an assassin. A Force user. His hand moves to his lightsaber, the curved hilt, elegant and deadly, and he walks into his study. Standing in the center of the room, illuminated by moonlight streaming through the windows, is a 12-year-old boy. Dooku's eyes narrow. You're Yoda's Padawan, Anakin Skywalker. The boy nods. Count Dooku, we need to talk. Dooku ignites his lightsaber. Blue blade, pure light side. Did the Council send you? Dooku demands. To bring me back. No, Anakin says calmly. I came to save you. Dooku's blade wavers. Save me? From what? From Darth Sidious, Anakin says, his voice dropping to ice. Dooku freezes. The name is spoken with such certainty, such knowledge. It stops him cold. Who? Dooku asks carefully. You know who? Anakin says. The Sith Lord who's been whispering to you through the Force. the one who wants to make you his apprentice, the one who orchestrated the Trade Federation invasion, the one who will use you to start a war that kills billions. Dooku's lightsaber lowers slightly. His mind races. How does this child know? How do you know this? Dooku asks. Anakin steps closer. His blue eyes are cold, ancient, utterly devoid of fear. Because I've seen it, Anakin says quietly. I've seen the Clone Wars. I've seen the fall of the Republic. I've seen the Jedi Temple burn. I've seen you die, Count Dooku, cut down by the very Sith Lord you're about to serve. Dooku stares at him, his lightsaber trembling now. You're a seer? Dooku breathes. No, Anakin says. I'm someone who lived through it, and I came back to stop it. The Force swirls around the boy like a storm, heavy, old, terrifying. Dooku can feel it, the weight this child carries, the knowledge, the pain. This is no childish fantasy. This is truth. If what you say is true, Dooku says slowly, deactivating his lightsaber. Then who is Darth Sidious? Anakin pauses. This is the moment of trust. Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, Anakin says flatly. Dooku's eyes widen in shock. The Chancellor, he whispers. Palpatine is a Sith Lord. Anakin confirms. He orchestrated everything. The Trade Federation blockade. The vote of no confidence against Chancellor Valorum. His own election. He's been playing both sides for decades, and his endgame is the complete destruction of the Jedi and the creation of a Sith empire. Dooku sits heavily in a chair, his worldview cracking. If this is true, Dooku says, his voice shaking, why haven't you told the Council? Because they won't believe me, Anakin says bluntly. I'm a child. I have no proof. And Sidious's mental shields are absolute. Even Master Yoda can't sense him. Then how do you know? Dooku demands. Anakin's expression shifts. Pain flickers across his face. Because I served him, Anakin says quietly, his voice heavy with regret. In another life, in another time, I was his enforcer. I helped him kill the Jedi, and it destroyed me. Dooku stares at the boy, and he sees it, the truth burning in those ancient eyes. This is no lie. What do you want from me? Dooku asks. An alliance, Anakin says. You have resources, connections, credibility that the Council will listen to. I have knowledge. And other skills. Together we can expose Sidious before he starts the war. And if I refuse, Anakin's voice goes cold. Then you'll become Darth Tyrannus. You'll lead the separatist movement. You'll kill Jedi. And when you're no longer useful, Palpatine will have you murdered to prove a point to his new apprentice. Dooku's jaw tightens. You speak with great certainty, he says. Because I was there when you died, Anakin says. I watched it happen. A long silence. The Sereno night is quiet. Still. Finally, Dooku nods. What's your plan? The alliance. Anakin and Dooku spend the next hour planning. Dooku will publicly remain disillusioned with the Jedi Order. This will maintain the appearance of a fallen master, exactly what Sidious expects. But secretly, Dooku will act as Anakin's intelligence operative, tracking Palpatine's movements through Senate contacts, identifying Sith cultists and dark-side operatives, placing surveillance technology in key Senate locations. We need irrefutable proof, Anakin says. A recording, a confession, something even the Council can't ignore. Dooku nods. And when we have it? Anakin's voice is cold. Final. Then we end him. Dooku looks at the 12-year-old boy standing before him, speaking of assassination with the calm authority of a military general. Who are you really, Anakin Skywalker? Dooku asks quietly. Anakin meets his gaze. I'm the chosen one who failed once, he says. I won't fail again. Dooku extends his hand. Anakin shakes it. Firm grip. Warrior's grip. The alliance is forged, and in the shadows of the galaxy the first pieces move against Darth Sidious. Jedi Temple. Coruscant. 36 BBY. 4 years after the divergence. Anakin is now 13 years old. Master Yoda meditates in his private chamber. The Force swirls around him like a gentle river. But the river is troubled. Over the past 3 years, Yoda has noticed a disturbing trend. Sith cultists are dying. Dark side artifacts are being destroyed. Palpatine's shadow network, the one Yoda has been quietly observing for years, is collapsing. To most Jedi, this would seem like a victory. The dark side is retreating. But Yoda knows better. The dark side does not retreat. Someone is hunting it. And there is only one person with the knowledge, skill, and motive to do so, his Padawan. Evening meditation. Yoda and Anakin sit together in meditation, as they do every evening, a ritual 4 years in the making. But tonight, Yoda will test him. Strange, the Force has become, Yoda says casually, eyes closed. Darkness fades, light grows stronger. Anakin does not open his eyes. His breathing remains steady. Isn't that a good thing, Master? Should be, Yoda agrees. But unnatural it feels. As if forced. Anakin's breathing does not change. Maybe the Sith are finally losing their grip on the galaxy. Yoda hums thoughtfully. Or maybe someone hunts them. A pause. Just a fraction of a second. But Yoda catches it. Who would do that, Master? Anakin asks innocently. Someone who knows them, Yoda says. Someone who understands their ways. Someone who has walked in darkness. Anakin opens his eyes. They are calm, blue, unflinching. If such a person existed, Anakin says carefully, wouldn't they be doing the Jedi's work? Perhaps, Yoda says. Or perhaps, walking a dangerous path they are. A path that leads to the very darkness they fight. Anakin counters, or they know the path well enough to walk it without falling. Yoda and Anakin stare at each other. The game is now open. Neither speaks for a long moment. Then Yoda closes his eyes and returns to meditation. But his mind is racing. Investigation. Over the next days, Yoda begins his own investigation. He reviews temple security logs. Anakin's movements are carefully accounted for. He is never outside the temple during the times when the underworld killings occur. But Yoda knows better. A Force user who can shield his mind can also shield his movements. He meditates, reaching deep into the Force, trying to see the truth. But Anakin's mental shields remain impenetrable. Yoda has never encountered anything like it. Not in 870 years. It is as if the boy carries techniques that should not exist yet. Frustrated, Yoda tries another approach. He speaks to Obi-Wan Kenobi. The training hall. Yoda finds Obi-Wan practicing lightsaber forms alone. The young knight moves with grace. Form 3, Soresu, the defensive form. Obi-Wan's specialty. Master Kenobi, Yoda says. A moment, may I have? Obi-Wan deactivates his lightsaber and bows respectfully. Of course, Master Yoda. Young Skywalker, Yoda says. Observe him, have you? Obi-Wan hesitates. Not closely, Master. He trains with you, not with the other Padawans. But I've noticed he's different. Different how? Yoda presses. Obi-Wan chooses his words carefully. He doesn't act like a 13-year-old. Obi-Wan says honestly. He's distant. Focused. Almost militaristic. When I see him in the halls, I sometimes think I'm looking at a veteran Jedi Knight, not a Padawan. Yoda nods slowly. Troubled, are you? No, Obi-Wan says. Just curious. Qui-Gon believed he was the chosen one. Do you think he was right? Yoda is silent for a long moment. The Force whispers around them. Chosen he may be, Yoda finally says. But for what? No, I do not. Confrontation. Round 2. That night, Yoda confronts Anakin directly. They sit in Yoda's meditation chamber. The door sealed. Privacy field activated. Lie to me, you have not, Yoda says. His voice is harder now. But truth, you have not told. Anakin looks up from his meditation. I've told you everything you need to know, Master. Need? Yoda's eyes flash. Decide that I do, not you. Anakin stands. His posture is respectful but unyielding. Master Yoda, I respect you more than anyone in this temple, but there are some truths that are dangerous. Dangerous to whom? Yoda demands. To everyone, Anakin says quietly. If I told you everything I know, the shock alone could shatter the Order. The Jedi aren't ready for the truth. Ready I am, Yoda says firmly. Anakin looks at him. Considering. Calculating. Finally, he speaks. A Sith Lord controls the Senate. Yoda's eyes widen. What? A Sith Lord? Anakin repeats. Hidden in plain sight. Manipulating the Republic from within. He's been planning this for decades. And if we move too soon, without proof he'll escape, and the galaxy will burn. Yoda stares at him, his ancient mind racing. Know this, how do you? Because I've fought him before, Anakin says. In a life that hasn't happened yet. Yoda's ears droop. Speak in riddles you do. I know, Anakin says. But not because I want to. Because I have to. Trust me, Master. When the time comes, you'll understand everything. Yoda looks at his Padawan, this impossible, terrifying boy who carries the weight of futures unseen. Trust you. I want to, Yoda says quietly. But fear what you are becoming. I do. So do I, Master, Anakin admits. For the first time, vulnerability flickers across his face. That's why I need you, Anakin says. Need me? For what? To stop me, Anakin says simply. If I go too far. If I lose myself, you're the only one strong enough. Yoda nods slowly. Promise this. I do. They return to meditation. The unspoken bond between them deepening. The chess game continues. But now, Yoda understands the stakes. Senate building. Chancellor's office. 36 BBY. Weeks after Yoda's confrontation. Sheev Palpatine sits in his vast office, overlooking the Coruscant skyline. Newly elected Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic. To the galaxy he is a wise grandfatherly figure, a symbol of hope and stability. But beneath the mask, he is Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, and he is troubled. His plans are proceeding. The Trade Federation invasion was successful, his election secured. The pieces are moving, but something is wrong. His network is collapsing. Cultists are dying, resources are vanishing. Someone is hunting his operatives. And then there is the boy, Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, Master Yoda's Padawan. Palpatine has tried to engineer meetings with the boy for years, but Yoda has kept him isolated, protected. But now Palpatine has a legitimate opportunity. A Senate education initiative, requiring Jedi Padawans to tour the government. To understand how the Republic functions, Palpatine sends an official request to the Jedi Council. Master Yoda receives it. He is suspicious. But refusing would create political tension. Reluctantly, he agrees. The first meeting. Anakin enters the Chancellor's office alone. The room is vast, elegant, red curtains, expensive furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the endless cityscape. Palpatine stands behind his desk, smiling warmly. Ah, young Skywalker. Please, sit. Anakin sits calmly. His posture is perfect. Too perfect for a 13-year-old. Palpatine studies him carefully. The boy is small for his age, but his eyes, those blue eyes, carry something ancient. I've heard remarkable things about you, Palpatine says, his voice dripping with grandfatherly warmth. Master Yoda's personal Padawan. Quite an honor. Master Yoda is wise, Anakin says politely. I'm fortunate to learn from him. Indeed, Palpatine agrees. But tell me, Anakin, do you ever feel constrained by the Jedi? Their rules, their dogma. Vader, inside Anakin, smiles inwardly. Here it comes. The grooming. Sometimes, Anakin admits carefully, but I understand why the rules exist. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Palpatine's smile widens. Wise words. But is it not also true that fear, properly channeled, can lead to strength? That anger, properly directed, can lead to justice? Perhaps. Anakin says, but justice and revenge are easy to confuse. You are wise beyond your years, my boy, Palpatine says, leaning forward. Tell me, where does such wisdom come from? Experience, Chancellor, Anakin says quietly. Palpatine chuckles. Experience. You're only 13. Some people live 1,000 lifetimes in a single moment. Chancellor, Anakin says, meeting his gaze. For the first time, Palpatine feels a flicker of unease. The plant. While Palpatine talks, Anakin is working. He has spent years studying Sith surveillance techniques, Techniques he learned as Darth Vader. He knows how to place listening devices using the Force. Microscopic, nearly undetectable, powered by dark side energy. While maintaining perfect eye contact with Palpatine, Anakin uses a subtle Force push to embed 3 devices, one inside the Chancellor's desk, hidden in a drawer joint, one in the ventilation shaft above, disguised as dust, one inside a decorative Naboo statue on the shelf. The entire operation takes 3 seconds. Palpatine, focused on the boy's words and body language, senses nothing. The grooming. Over the next weeks, Palpatine arranges more meetings. He tells Anakin stories about the inefficiency of the Senate, the failures of the Jedi, the need for strong leadership. Anakin plays along perfectly, nodding, asking questions, pretending to be a curious, impressionable child. "You could be so much more than a Jedi, Anakin," Palpatine says during one meeting. The galaxy needs leaders who are willing to make hard choices, leaders who understand that sometimes the only way to save lives is to take them. "Exactly," Palpatine says, pleased. "Have you ever been in a war, Chancellor?" Anakin asks. Palpatine pauses. "I have seen conflict." "Yes. It changes you," Anakin says quietly. "War. It makes you see the galaxy differently. You realize that peace is fragile, that it requires sacrifice." Palpatine stares at the boy, fascinated. "You speak as if you've been to war yourself." "In a way, Chancellor," Anakin says. "I have." Sidious reports to Dooku. That night, Palpatine, now fully Darth Sidious in his private chambers, contacts Count Dooku through a secure hologram. Dooku's image appears, standing in his Sereno estate. "The boy is remarkable," Sidious says, his voice pleased, excited. "There is a darkness in him, a potential I have never seen." But Yoda guards him closely. Dooku keeps his expression carefully neutral. "What do you intend, my master?" "I will turn him," Sidious says confidently. "It will take time, years perhaps, but he will fall, and when he does, he will become the most powerful Sith who ever lived." Dooku nods, his mind racing. "Anakin warned me. He knows exactly what Sidious is planning." After the call ends, Dooku immediately contacts Anakin through an encrypted comlink. "He's trying to groom you," Dooku says. "I know," Anakin replies calmly. "That's the point. Keep him confident. Keep him talking. The more he reveals, the more evidence we gather." "And the listening devices?" Dooku asks. "Already in place," Anakin confirms. "Every word he says in that office is now being recorded." Dooku smiles coldly. "Brilliant. Now we wait," Anakin says. "And when he finally drops the mask, we'll have him." The trap is set. Weeks turn into months. The recordings accumulate. Palpatine, believing himself completely secure, begins to speak more freely in his office about the corruption of the Republic, the weakness of the Jedi, the inevitability of war. He does not know that every word is being captured, that 2 Jedi, one a fallen Count, one a child carrying the soul of Darth Vader, are building a case against him. The noose tightens, slowly, carefully, invisibly, and Darth Sidious, for all his power and cunning, does not see it coming. Naboo, Theed Royal Palace, 37 BBY. 5 years after the divergence, Padme Amidala, now 19 years old, returns to her homeworld for a diplomatic summit. She is no longer queen. Her term ended when she turned 14, as mandated by Naboo law. But she is a senator now, young, intelligent, politically astute, one of the Republic's rising stars. She has not seen Anakin Skywalker since she was 14 and he was 9, the day he won the pod race, the day her world changed. She has followed his career from afar, through news reports and Senate gossip. The boy who became Master Yoda's Padawan, the boy the Jedi Council feared, the boy who never smiled. When she sees him again, standing in the palace courtyard in simple Jedi robes, she almost doesn't recognize him. He's grown, still shorter than most 14-year-olds, but lean, wiry, his blue eyes sharp and alert. "Senator Amidala," Anakin says, bowing respectfully. Padme's breath catches. That voice, it's deeper now, but so formal. "Anakin," she says warmly, stepping toward him. "It's been years. How have you been?" Well, Senator, Anakin says. And you? Please, call me Padme, she says, smiling. We're friends, aren't we? Anakin hesitates. Just for a moment. Of course, Padme. The distance. Over the next few days, Padme tries to reconnect with Anakin, but he is distant, polite, respectful, but utterly impersonal. He does not flirt. He does not joke. He does not even smile. It frustrates her. She remembers the 9-year-old boy on Tatooine. Bright, hopeful, kind, full of dreams. This Anakin is different, colder, like a soldier. One evening she finds him in the palace gardens, staring at the lake. Alone, she approaches quietly. What happened to you? Padme asks. Anakin doesn't turn. What do you mean? You're not the boy I remember, she says. You're distant, like you're carrying something heavy. Anakin is silent for a long moment. I am, he finally admits. What? Padme asks gently. Anakin looks at her, and for a moment the mask slips. She sees the age in his eyes, the grief, the regret, the future, Anakin says quietly, and the past, and the weight of every choice I've made and will make. Padme stares at him, confused. Anakin, you're 14. You're supposed to… I'm not 14, Anakin interrupts. Not in the way that matters. Then what are you? Padme asks. Anakin's voice is heavy. Tired. I'm someone who's lived a lifetime, he says, and I'm trying very hard not to make the same mistakes. The assassination attempt. That night, bounty hunters attack. 3 assassins, heavily armed, infiltrating the palace through a service entrance. Their target, Senator Amidala. A political assassination, funded by corporations opposed to her environmental protection legislation. They expect an easy kill. They do not account for the Jedi Padawan in the next room. Anakin senses the danger instantly. His eyes snap open. He reaches out with the Force. 3 hostile presences, moving through the palace corridors, armed with blasters and vibroblades. Intent, murder. Anakin moves, silent, precise. No wasted motion. He does not ignite his lightsaber. Not yet. He flows through the palace like a shadow. Vader's tactical training guiding every step. The first assassin, a Rodian, rounds a corner. Anakin doesn't hesitate. Force choke. Silent. Instant. The Rodian's eyes bulge. His hands claw at his throat. His blaster clatters to the floor. 5 seconds later, he's dead. Anakin moves on. The second assassin, a human mercenary, hears the noise. Turns, raises his blaster. Anakin deflects the shots with his ignited lightsaber, blue blade humming. 3 quick strikes. The mercenary's weapon is cut in half. Then Anakin uses the Force to crush the remains. Shrapnel explodes into the man's chest. He falls, dead before he hits the ground. The third assassin, a Weequay, reaches Padme's chambers first. He grabs her. Blaster pressed to her head. Stay back, Jedi, the Weequay snarls. Or she. Anakin rips the blaster out of his hand with the Force. Then he slams the Weequay into the wall with telekinetic force. The impact is brutal. The man's spine cracks audibly. He slides to the floor, dead. Padme stands frozen, staring. 3 bodies, 3 dead assassins, and Anakin standing over them, lightsaber still ignited. His face utterly expressionless. Anakin, she whispers. He deactivates his lightsaber. Turns to her. Are you hurt? No, but you killed them, Padme says, shaken. Yes, Anakin says simply. Jedi don't kill unless there's no other choice. Anakin finishes. There wasn't. Padme looks at him, seeing the truth in his eyes. He didn't hesitate. He didn't regret it. What has the Jedi Order done to this boy? The aftermath. Later that night, Padme finds Anakin on the palace balcony, staring at the stars. I'm sorry, she says quietly, for questioning you. You had every right, Anakin says. What I did was brutal. But necessary, Padme says. You saved my life. Anakin nods. Then quietly, I've lost you once, Padme. I won't lose you again. Padme freezes. Again, she asks, confused. We barely know each other. Anakin looks at her, and for the first time his mask shatters. She sees pain. Deep, soul-crushing pain. In another life, Anakin says quietly, I loved you, and I destroyed you. I won't let that happen again. Padme's breath catches. Anakin, what are you talking about? He shakes his head, the mask sliding back into place. Nothing. Just stay safe, Padme. Please. I will, she promises. Then, hesitantly, will you stay? Just for a few more days. I feel safer when you're here. Anakin nods. I'll stay. The shift. Over the next few days, something changes. Anakin begins to relax, just slightly. He smiles. Once, a small, genuine smile when Padme tells a joke. He laughs, softly, when she teases him about his serious demeanor. And when they sit together in the gardens, he speaks of things that matter. The failures of the Jedi Code, the corruption in the Senate, the hope that maybe, just maybe, the galaxy can be better. Padme listens, fascinated. This strange, terrifying, brilliant boy is opening up. On the last night, as Anakin prepares to leave, Padme takes his hand. Come back, she says, not as a Jedi, just as Anakin. For a moment, he feels the pull, the warmth, the connection, the light. I will, he promises. And for the first time in 5 years, Darth Vader feels something other than regret. Hope. Coruscant. Industrial Sector. 37 BBY. Weeks after Naboo, Anakin sends a message to Chancellor Palpatine. A private request. Encrypted. Sent through official Jedi channels. Chancellor, I need to speak with you, away from the Senate. There's something I need to discuss. Something personal. Palpatine's eyes gleam with interest when he receives the message. The boy is reaching out. Finally, he responds immediately. Of course, my young friend. Where would you like to meet? The old industrial sector. Anakin replies. Level 3204. Abandoned factory. No one will disturb us there. Palpatine hesitates. Suspicious. But also, an opportunity. I'll be there, Palpatine agrees. The preparation. Anakin contacts Count Dooku. It's happening tonight. Be ready. Understood, Dooku says. I'll be in position. Anakin contacts Master Yoda. Master, I need you to trust me. Meet me at these coordinates. Tonight. And bring your lightsaber. Yoda stares at the message. The coordinates. The industrial sector. Dangerous. Very dangerous. But he trusts his Padawan, despite everything. Come, I will, Yoda replies. The meeting. Palpatine arrives at the abandoned factory, flanked by 2 royal guards in their crimson robes. The factory is vast, empty, dust-covered machinery, broken conveyor belts, shadows everywhere. In the center of the space, illuminated by a single overhead light, stands Anakin, 14 years old. Small, alone. Anakin, Palpatine says, smiling warmly. Why such secrecy? Because, Chancellor, Anakin says calmly, I wanted to speak freely, without the Council, without the Senate, just you and me. Palpatine dismisses his guards with a wave. They retreat to the entrance. Out of earshot, very well, Palpatine says, stepping closer. What troubles you, my boy? Anakin looks up at him. His blue eyes are cold. Calculating. I know what you are, Anakin says quietly. Palpatine's smile doesn't falter. What I am? I'm the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Republic. No, Anakin says. You're Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, Master Manipulator, Architect of the Clone Wars that haven't happened yet. Palpatine's smile vanishes. The temperature in the factory drops. The reveal. Palpatine's mask shatters. His face twists into something monstrous. Yellow Sith eyes, sunken features, pure malice. Clever boy, Sidious hisses. How long have you known? I've known everything. Your plan to turn me. The Clone Wars. Order 66. The Empire. All of it. Sidious stares at him, his mind racing. Impossible. You're a child. I was a child, Anakin says. But I'm also Darth Vader. Your enforcer. Your weapon. The man who slaughtered the Jedi for you. Sidious's eyes widen in genuine shock. What? I lived it. Anakin says coldly. I was your apprentice. I burned the galaxy for you, and then I died, broken, redeemed, and somehow the Force sent me back. To stop you before you ever begin. Sidious laughs, a cruel, echoing sound. If what you say is true, then you are wasted on the Jedi. Join me, Anakin. Together we can rule the galaxy as... No. I've already ruled, Anakin says. I know what it costs, and I'm done with you. Sidious's face hardens. Then you will die. He raises his hands. Force lightning erupts from his fingertips, purple-black energy crackling through the air, and Anakin catches it with his bare hands. Tutaminis. The lightning crackles and arcs around Anakin's hands, but he does not fall, does not scream. He absorbs it. His face is twisted in concentration, pain, but also control. You taught me this, Anakin says through gritted teeth. Vader knew how to withstand Sith lightning, and I'm still Vader. Sidious's eyes widen in horror. He pours more power into the attack. The lightning intensifies, but Anakin holds firm. And then, from the shadows, two figures emerge. Master Yoda, lightsaber ignited, green blade humming. Count Dooku, curved saber drawn, blue light cutting through the darkness. Alone, you are not, Sidious, Yoda says. Dooku's voice is cold. You underestimated the boy. A fatal mistake. Sidious snarls. Traitor, you were supposed to be mine. I belong to no one, Dooku says. Anakin releases the lightning, lets it dissipate into the air. He ignites his lightsaber. Blue blade, pure, bright. 3 against 1, Sidious hisses. You think you've won? We know we have, Anakin says. And the duel begins. Sidious moves first. A blur, impossibly fast. His red lightsaber a whirlwind of strikes. Yoda meets him head-on. Their blades clash with deafening force. The shockwave ripples through the factory. The Grandmaster's agility is unmatched, flipping, spinning, deflecting every strike with Form V precision. Dooku attacks from the side. Form 2. Makashi, the duelist's form. Elegant, precise, seeking openings in Sidious's defense. Anakin holds back, analyzing. Vader's tactical mind is working. He knows Sidious's fighting style intimately. The unpredictability, the raw aggression, the willingness to sacrifice defense for offense. He watches, waits. Sidious's fury. Sidious unleashes a wave of force energy. A telekinetic shockwave. Massive. It throws Yoda and Dooku backward. They crash into rusted machinery. Fools, Sidious roars. You think you can defeat a Sith Lord? I have studied the dark side for decades. He raises his hands, summoning another barrage of force lightning, but Anakin steps forward and absorbs it. Again. I know, Anakin says calmly. I studied under you for 23 years. He pushes the lightning back. Sidious screams, forced to cut off the attack to avoid his own energy. The coordinated assault. Yoda and Dooku recover. Flanking Sidious. Together, Yoda commands. They attack as one. Yoda low, striking at Sidious's legs with lightning-fast strikes. Dooku high, thrusting at his chest and head with surgical precision. Sidious is forced into a defensive stance, blocking, parrying, retreating. Anakin joins from the front. His strikes are heavy, powerful, relentless. Form V, Gemso, the power form. Overwhelming offense. Sidious is forced back, step by step. You cannot win, Sidious snarls. I am the dark side incarnate, and I've killed you before, Anakin says coldly. I'll do it again. The turning point. Sidious realizes he is losing. In desperation, he targets the weakest link, Count Dooku. He feints toward Yoda, drawing the Grandmaster's attention, then spins, lightning fast, driving his red lightsaber toward Dooku's heart. But Anakin is there. He moves with impossible speed, his lightsaber intercepting Sidious's blade inches from Dooku's chest. Nice try, Anakin says. He shoves Sidious back with a brutal force push. The Sith Lord crashes into a wall, Durasteel crumpling under the impact. The final blow. Sidious struggles to rise. His body is broken, his face twisted in rage and disbelief. You cannot, he gasps. Anakin stands over him, lightsaber raised. Yoda and Dooku flank him, their blades still ignited. Ready. I already have, Anakin says quietly. He drives the blade down, through Sidious's chest. Precise. Surgical, Darth Sidious screams, a horrible echoing sound that reverberates through the factory. And then silence. The Dark Lord of the Sith is dead. The aftermath. Yoda and Dooku approach cautiously, lightsabers still ignited, watching the body carefully. Dead, he is, Yoda confirms. Sensing the void in the Force where Sidious once was, Dooku deactivates his blade. It's over. Anakin stares down at the body. His expression is unreadable. It's not over, he says quietly. The Sith will return. They always do. But, for now, we've won. Yoda looks at his Padawan. Vader, you called yourself. That's who I was, in another life. And now? Yoda asks. Anakin deactivates his lightsaber. Now, he says, I'm just Anakin, trying to do better. Yoda nods slowly. Better, you have done. Jedi Temple, High Council Chamber, 37 BBY, days after Sidious's death. The Council convenes in emergency session. All 12 Masters present. Yoda, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, the wisest Jedi in the galaxy. Yoda, Count Dooku, and Anakin stand in the center. They present their evidence, recordings of Sidious's confessions, documenting of his Sith network. The testimony of all three witnesses. Mace Windu is stunned. The Chancellor was a Sith Lord? Confirmed it is, Yoda says gravely. The council members stare at each other, shocked, horrified. Another master. If this becomes public knowledge, the political ramifications, catastrophic, they would be. Yoda agrees. They debate for hours. If the galaxy learns that the Supreme Chancellor was a Sith Lord manipulating the Republic for decades, panic, chaos, the collapse of faith in galactic institutions. Dooku speaks. We must be strategic. A sudden revelation could destabilize everything we fought to protect. The Council agrees on a cover story. Sheev Palpatine died of natural causes. Heart failure. A new election will be held immediately. The Jedi will quietly dismantle the remaining Sith network. The truth will remain classified, known only to the High Council. The Senate transition. A new chancellor is elected within weeks. Bail Organa of Alderaan. A man of integrity, wisdom, compassion. Under his leadership, the Republic stabilizes. Without Sidious's manipulation, the separatist movement never forms. The Clone Wars never begin. Trillions of lives are saved. Yoda's reflection. Yoda stands alone in his meditation chamber, staring out at the Coruscant skyline. The endless city lights. Anakin enters quietly. Master? Sit, Yoda says. They sit together, as they have for 5 years. Understand now. I do, Yoda says quietly. What you carried, why you hid it. I couldn't tell you, Anakin says. Not until the time was right. Right it was, Yoda agrees. He pauses, then, saved the galaxy you did. But at what cost? Anakin is silent. Yourself, you sacrificed. Yoda continues. Childhood, you lost. Innocence, you lost. For 5 years, carried this burden alone. You did. I had to, Anakin says simply. No, I do, Yoda says. He turns to look at his Padawan. But proud I am. Of you. My Padawan. My friend. Anakin looks at Yoda, and for the first time his eyes glisten with tears. Thank you, Master, he says quietly. The resignation. The next day, Anakin formally requests an audience with the Jedi Council. He stands in the center of the chamber. Alone. I wish to leave the Jedi Order, he says calmly. The Council is shocked. Leave? Mace Windu asks. After everything you've done? Because of everything I've done? Anakin says. He looks at each council member. I've carried darkness for 5 years. I've killed in the shadows. I've walked paths no Jedi should walk. And I did it willingly. He pauses. The Jedi Code says there is no emotion, only peace. But I've learned that's wrong. Emotion is peace, love, compassion, connection. These are what saved me. Not detachment. Right you are. I'm leaving to live a life, Anakin continues. A free life, with someone who reminds me what it means to be human. Padme, Yoda says knowingly. Anakin nods. The council votes. Unanimously they grant his release. May the Force be with you, Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu says respectfully. Epilogue. Naboo Gardens. Anakin stands in the gardens of Theed Palace, watching the sunset over the lake. Padme approaches, smiling. You came back. I promised, Anakin says. She takes his hand. What now? Now, Anakin says. We live. We build something good. We prove that the galaxy can be better. Together, Padme asks. Together, Anakin confirms. They stand together, watching the sunset paint the sky gold and orange. Behind them, unseen, Yoda watches from the palace balcony. Balance the Force has found, Yoda murmurs. Through darkness and light. Through sacrifice and love. He turns away, smiling. The Chosen One has fulfilled his destiny, not by destroying the Sith through prophecy, but by choosing to save the galaxy. And in that choice, he has saved himself. Let us know what you'd like to see next. The end.